Welcome to the Pit Life Barbecue Podcast. Join us around the pit as we talk all things barbecue. Now here is your host, Johnny Maggs.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to
What's up, everybody?
Join us around the pit.
Huh? Am I good, Chef?
Yeah, we're good. I was yelling at my wife, told her to get quiet because we were starting the show.
Don't you yell at Miss Libby. me and a certain Iowa boy, we'll come down there and we'll take care of you. But what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Pit Life Barbecue Podcast. Coming to you live from the Uncle Steve Shake Studios in Center Bondstead, New Hampshire. It's the podcast where we talk everything barbecue and a lot of other topics that you normally talk around the pit. Oh, guys and gals, we have a real exciting episode. I'm excited to learn about the Texas Beef Council, and we have Jerry McPherson joining us from the Texas Beef Council. And I needed to have a special co-host on this who has some firsthand experience with the Texas Beef Council himself, our own beloved Mr. Chef Johnny. So before we get into it, today's episode brought to you by Uncle Steve Shake. What can I say? Steve is an amazing gentleman, shirt off his back type of guy. Started doing a little passion and seasoning and has turned it into a wonderful company. 18 amazing flavors. The original, the Gator Shake, the competition line, the Mi Amigo, Magic Ribs, Sweet Dessert Shake, the list goes on and on. He wears all the hats. He is mixing the shake. He's bottling the shakes. He's packaging the shakes. He's answering the phones. He's answering emails. You have a question, he's the one getting back to you in one way, shape, or form. If he has a question, he might actually get back to you to make sure your order is what you're looking for. Any questions on flavor profiles? Get in touch with him. He'll sit there and have a conversation with you and make sure you are one happy barbecue competitor or backyard king. Check him out at UncleSteveShake.com. Also follow along on Facebook at Uncle Steve Shake Nation. Uncle Steve Shake, shake some on everything. Also brought to you by Joe's Meat Market, the diamond of Royce City, Texas. Gabriel and his crew, man, they do an incredible job. An incredible line of all types of proteins. You need a specific cut, Gabriel's got you covered. If for some reason you're looking for something Gabriel does not have, he'll work with you to get it, to make whatever you got going on possible. The produce, unbelievable. Fresh, brought in daily. And for all us comp guys and backyard barbecuers, got us covered too. Multiple lines of rubs, sauces, seasonings, injections, marinades. Now carrying the Smoky Woods barbecue product line. Splits, chunks, chips, pellets. He's got it all. And you know how it happens once you're out shopping for your next barbecue cook. You might get a little hungry. He's got you covered there too. Gabriel's mom's behind the counter whipping up some of the freshest, authentic Mexican cuisine out there. Grab a plate, some tacos, a bowl of menudo, sit down, talk to you with everyone who's hanging around there, make a new friend for life. Like I said, if you're ever in the Royce City area, stop by Joe's Meat Market. Say hey to Gabriel and the crew and tell them I sent you. And remember, Joe's Meat Market for the win. Also brought to you by the Champions Barbecue Alliance. The Big Dog Sauce Company and Matt's Backyard Barbecue present the New England CBA Triple Crown, bringing Texas and New England together for the ultimate barbecue showdown, a 3-state high-stakes competition across Vermont, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire. Do you have what it takes to dominate the Champions Barbecue Alliance's 4-meat competition, chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket, and claim the Triple Crown? How about showing your skills in some epic jackpots, including dessert, chef's choice, sausage, and steak? Calling all young pit masters, the Kids Q jackpots give the next generation of barbecue legends a chance to show off their skills. Join the fiercest pit masters as they fire up the smokers, lay down the rubs, and showcase their best. 3 states, 3 epic showdowns, 1 champion. These sponsors are bringing the heat with prizes, including a guaranteed $10,000 payout for the Vermont competition and some unique trophies. Whether you're competing or just coming to judge the feast, don't miss this barbecue lover's paradise. All right. Exciting. So let's see who is joining us. I know Bat was first in. Followed by Tom's Food Factory. What's happening, brother? Daddy Dutch, how are you? Brother Rick's Barbecue and Specialties. How are you, brother? How you feeling, man? How's it all going? And there's Joe's Meat Market. What's happening? Larry Vaughn, afternoon from South Jersey. Big Rome. What is going on? All right, guys, let's get into it. I am always loving to learn, and I'm going to get an education. And I'd put anything that a certain somebody on this screen is going to try to stick a buckle in my face like he always does every time I try to see him. But without joining me as special co-host for this evening, who knows a little bit about the Texas Beef Council, our own Chef Johnny. Chef, how are you? Jerry, should we just let him go for a while before he realizes he's...
He didn't go a while. He's like hearing himself talk anyway, so we'll be good.
Here we go. Now I turned the mic back on.
Hi, Chef.
I was just going to town. I was saying all kinds of cool stuff.
Anyway, well, Chef, thank you, brother. Thank you for getting me in contact with Jerry, and thank you for joining me, because I have my basis of questions and you have firsthand knowledge. So we'll get into that. But our guest of this evening. Thank you so much for taking the time. This is going to be incredible. Mr. Jerry McPherson from the Texas Beef Council. Jerry, how are you, pal?
Doing great. Beautiful Monday day we had today. So great weekend we had. Good weather, a little bit of rain, which we can always have more rain. We need a lot of that right now. We've been in a drought for several years now, so we like to see the rain a little bit. So but all's good. I appreciate you for reaching out and having me on. I look forward to this, and I think we'll have some good lessons today, hopefully.
Absolutely. You know, I'm always looking for guests, and I watch a lot of the shows and listen to them daily, and I've never heard anybody really mention the Texas Beef Council. So when Chef, we were talking, he goes, Jerry would be great to have on to talk about the Beef Council. And I'm like, something, that would be fantastic. So we got in touch. We made it happen. And so here we are. Uncle Steve, what's happening? He is heading back from SeaWorld. All right, insert fat jokes here, guys. I'll let it happen. But thanks for tuning in, Steve. Appreciate you, brother. So, Jerry, tell us a little bit about you, who you are, any real experience growing up in as far as the world of barbecue, and then lead into how you got involved with the Texas Beef Council.
All right. Well, first of all, Chef Johnny, the check's in the mail. $20 is coming. Appreciate you. Well, so I'm just a West Texas boy. I'm born and raised in Lubbock, Texas, actually. So I'm not a Central Texas guy. I didn't grow up here. I grew up in the Panhandle there, and actually ventured out here to Austin about 22 years ago, roughly in that area. But really didn't have any barbecue world experience growing up, other than I know I ate my fair share of barbecue growing up. Beef was always in our family meal plan, I should say. My mom always had beef on the table, whether that be burgers or roast or, we didn't eat a whole lot of steaks actually back then, but more of a roast and burgers and tacos and fajitas, things of that nature and all that. But that was really my experience in the beef world. And that being said, back in those days, kind of showing my age here a little bit, but my mom would always cook everything well done. We didn't have any of this medium rare steaks or anything like that. Back in those days, it was like, it's got to be cooked all the way through and all. So I grew up eating shoe leather, and I thought it was really good back then. So you can imagine what I feel like nowadays eating a medium rare steak. It's euphoria, it's just a whole different ball game. So, but that was kind of my background. I just grew up in West Texas and played a lot of sports, did a lot of things like that. And then had an opportunity to move out here in the Central Texas area with a different job about 20 years ago. And then I kind of got very lucky. I was looking for another part-time job to add to the income level. And the Beef Council here had a position for a part-time warehouse person. So I applied for that and came up here and interviewed, and things went well. So they offered me a part-time position to come do some shipping and handling back in the back room back there. And I was working at the time. I was actually working for, I think everybody makes a turn out here in this part of the world, working for HEB. So I was working night crew, running the general merchandising side for night crew for HEB for a while. And then I started working here part-time. And I don't know if it might have been 4 months or in the 6 months, somewhere in that range, that the Beef Council came back to me and said, hey, we'd like to offer you a full-time position. And so that was kind of the start of my career here at the Texas Beef Council. I've been here now for this going into my 18th season, 18th year.
Wow.
So kind of was very fortunate and blessed on how I arrived here. And then I've just kind of worked my way at different levels all the way through the years and all through here. And I've had some excellent mentors here that I've been able to work with and learned a lot. I've had a lot of great opportunities to meet a lot of the professors at A&M and at Tech as well,
Mm-hmm.
and West Texas A&M. So a lot of meat scientists and things of that nature. And then in general, working here at the Beef Council with a couple of the folks that have their meat science degrees and things of that nature here too. So I've been very blessed in the barbecue world by being on the Texas Beef Council.
Very good. Very good. So my first question is, what is, I suppose, not the definition, but what is the Texas Beef Council?
Right. Well, so the Texas Beef Council we represent the cattle producers of Texas. So I don't know if you can imagine or give me a guess here on, do you know how many cattle producers there are in the state of Texas? Would you have even a guess?
Oh, I couldn't even possibly put a number on it.
I'm going to put Chef Johnny on the spot if you don't give me a number, see if he remembers.
He may not remember.
Oh, you better give him a number because I can't remember.
I'm gonna let's see. Texas is the biggest.
Texas is the biggest state, definitely.
I'm gonna go out and throw a 10,000 number at it, but I am going to probably say it's probably much smaller.
Okay. Well, you'd be absolutely wrong on that. It's much larger.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's roughly 130,000 cattle producers in the state of Texas.
oh wow.
If that'll surprise you. So most of the cattle producers in the state of Texas roughly have anywhere from 35 to 50 head of cattle. They're all pretty small, family-owned operations. There's not very many big, corporations out there. They're most family-owned, and they make a living doing other jobs, and they just love and have a passion for the industry in the agricultural world. So it's a bigger, I guess a lot more cattle producers out there than you would anticipate, because a lot of people have a misconception that they're all big and things of that nature. But roughly, they're small individual families that have a passion for the agricultural industry and love raising the animals. And so 130,000 cattle producers. So that's who we represent out here. We're a nonprofit company. We are funded by what they call the beef checkoff dollar. So the beef checkoff dollar, it was passed back in 1985. It was a bill that producers, anytime the head of cattle sold, $1 is collected at that point. Every beef council, every state has their own beef council out there. So Texas has their own, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska. So there's roughly 46 other states out there that have a beef council. So they're all independently in terms of that. But that dollar that is collected, every beef council sends 50 cents of that to the national headquarters, which is in Denver, NCBA, National Cattlemen's Beef Board, that handles that. So with that money, they can do beef promotion, research, and education and all that. So every state hangs on to their other additional money, and they can do exactly what I just said: beef promotion, research, and education. We can't do any kind of lobbying or anything like that. That's for different organizations that handle that and all that. So with that money, like I said, we do the promotions and all that. I guess it's been about 11 or 12 years ago, roughly right around there, 11 to 12 years ago, Texas passed a state checkoff dollar. So the first one was a federal dollar. Everybody has to pay that no matter what. Then Texas passed the state checkoff dollar, which is an additional dollar. So with that additional dollar, it applies the same way. We can keep none of that has to go directly to nationals, but that is a refundable dollar by the cattle producers if they would like to ask for it back. They pay for it up front, and then if they want to ask for it back, they can get that refunded. The first dollar they can't, the second one they can't. And the same thing goes with that. With that money, we do beef promotion, research, and education. We don't do any kind of lobbying or anything like that with that as well. So two different dollars it's now, because obviously, here we are, 30 years later, that first dollar just doesn't stretch as far as it used to. So the producer saw that and said, hey, we need to add an additional dollar here so we can do some good things with that, with the research, the promotion, and all that, because we want beef to be top of mind when those consumers are going into the stores and purchasing things, and any kind of proteins and all that. We want them to know beef is that resource for them that they can purchase. It's the choice of proteins out there. So we needed that funding to be able to do programs and all that, and to keep up with the times and all that. So that's kind of who Texas Council is in a whole. We have about 20 members here on staff. That's between administrative folks and then program staff members. We have a marketing side, and then we have a beef resources side. So roughly about 20 members throughout the organization here. And then we are run by a board, 20 members on our board. And they're within the cattle voted in, and that's who approves all our funding in terms of our programs and what we do and how we do things around here. So it's run by the board, and we get approval through them.
Okay. You had said, the education part, and the beef meat scientists, and working with Texas A&M, and the different universities. Now, does that mean what does that entail of meaning education? The science, I suppose, of like on the rancher's side, nutritional stuff for the cattle, and we're dealing with animals, so like veterinarian programs and things like that, or checking like different disease. Like everybody in the outdoor world is aware of the CWD with deer. Are there different things that work with that as scientifically with cattle?
Yeah. So really the staff at A&M or any specialists that handle that, we leave that up to them as well. But there is programs that we do, like beef quality assurance programs. We have what we call a beef 706 program, and those are for cattle producers. So, they know how to raise them. They know how to feed them. They take care of them health-wise and things of that nature. But after that, that runs its course. And then when we go to the merchandising of the cuts and things of that nature, they're not really that familiar with that. So we do that connection with them, getting them some training, some education parts with the professors, the meat scientists, the beef specialists from the Texas AgriLife Extension folks that have beef specialists on staff, and do a lot of trainings like that with them. And then on the consumer side of it, we don't get into the depths of it necessarily like that. But we do get into like different programs throughout. So we have a registered dietitians, we have nutritionists on staff. So we do programs with like we have a what do I want to call it? A sports nutrition program out there right now. So our nutritionist is highly involved with that, with athletics folks and things of that nature, letting them know that beef can be part of a healthy diet and being there to, it's a great protein, the protein of choice for those folks. To low calories, a lot of protein involved, a lot of iron as well, and things of that nature. But we also do we have a medical office outreach program that we do, where we have people going in talking to doctors and things of that nature, giving them science-based information, letting them know that beef can be part of a healthy diet program. So we kind of cover the gamut on that part out there, as well as then we get into our retail and food service type, that we do some trainings with those folks on the meat market side, and then in general with other folks that are in their store as well, and just kind of educating them on different cuts, proper way to cook them, things of that nature. Lots of recipe type stuff that they can work with and talk to the consumers about, because they're the face. They're talking to those consumers every day. And all that. So if we can help them out in any way and educate them on that, that benefits us, that benefits everybody, it benefits the store, showing that their people are educated and they know what they're talking about in there. So we do retail food service. We do what we work with USMEF, which is United States Meat Export Federation. They'll bring in like trade teams from overseas, the Caribbeans, Central South America, different areas like that. And we do lots of training programs with those folks as well. Different cuts, because you'll have meat buyers on there. You'll have people that are from restaurants. So we kind of give them the whole Texas gamut of different barbecue places out here, how they do certain things, some training. So they get a little bit, they have to eat a lot of barbecue and they're not used to that. So it's kind of glutton for punishment for them on those days when they come here and we have a meat tasting all day long, and then we go to take them to barbecue places. They're kind of worn out after that first day and a half that we do that with. It's kind of entertaining to me. I get a kick out of it because I can eat barbecue every day, all day long, and I have no problem with it. But when you get people that aren't eating that much barbecue every day, or used to it, it's kind of interesting. But we do lots of trainings with those folks. So there's just a wide gamut of things, which is a lot of work that we do here for the very small staff that we have. But, our goal is basically to bring Texans to the table over shared love of beef through beef promotion, research, and education. That's what we're
wonderful. Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, let's see here in the chat.
And while you're looking at the chat there, Johnny, I'll jump in here a little bit. And that's on the educational end as far as schools. So they provide free for the schools educational flyers, menus, recipes, a lot of things like that. Charts of the meat. I have a lot of Beef Council posters hanging up in my classroom of all the cuts of meat, where they come from. And so they do that. And then the National Restaurant Association, they have an educational program, and it's called Pro Start. So the school that I teach at, well, both the schools I have taught at are both Pro Start schools. And part of the Pro Start school curriculum is Beef University, which comes to us from the Texas Beef Council. So my kids go through that. They get some little plaques or not plaques, certificates that we print off where they've passed some of the beef tests, and they're able to go and learn about beef. And it's not just for the culinary kids. Elementary schools get it. The high schools can get it. So they have it kind of geared toward what level of child you're teaching, and they'll ship that out there and help teachers be able to talk to their students in that nutritional section about beef and how it can be very nutritious in a well-balanced diet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And to add to that is those are all free materials that we do give teachers and all in that. So if they log on to beeflovingtexans.com, and they'll scroll down to the bottom of the page, they'll see a site that's called resources, and they can click on that, and then they can put in their orders, see what all we have to offer, check it all out. They can put in orders. We'll send it to them. Of course, there's limitations on that. Some of it is a free download where you can download and print it yourself and have, easy access that way. So there are some different options for them as well on that. But yeah, it is free materials out there for teachers and all that. And we have some other programs that we can work with them, but I'm glad Johnny mentioned that as well for the Pro Start and all that. I just came back from that a couple of weeks ago. That was up there in Waco. And I happen to be on the board for what we call the Texas High School Barbecue Association. That's an organization outside of the Texas Beef Council. It's a completely different thing, but I'm on the board with that. And Beef Council actually is an in-kind sponsor with that as well. But that is a program for high school students. It's a barbecue competition that is held from start of the school year to the end of the school year. Actually, we have state this end of this week, this year, state in Granite Shoals. We'll roughly probably have close to 100 teams that had qualified for state this year. But it's a program for high school students, whether they're in ag or they're in culinary. They just have a mentor there. And it's we do 5 categories. We do dessert, beans, a couple of those other proteins I don't like to announce, but we'll announce them. We have the chicken and we have pork ribs, and then the final is brisket, and that's the tiebreaker is the brisket that they turn in.
Okay.
So great program. You've got 1A schools competing against 5A schools because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of, how big the school is or how small. You're competing, you're cooking, and you're barbecuing. And so it's been I think we started that roughly back in 2018, I think is when that started. And each year it's kind of grown a little bit. So that's a great opportunity for a lot of students out there that whether you're in sports or you're in ag or you're in culinary or you're not in any of those and you want to be involved with your school. And if they have that program, you can get on that team and compete and come out and do some barbecue and all that. So it's a great opportunity for a lot of the students that just hadn't figured out what they want to do, or if they're interested in barbecue, if their school happens to have it, they can be on the team with their mentors and come in and have a great experience that way too.
Oh, that's wonderful. That high school barbecue league blows my mind because, and I've said it before, I can't say if it was available when I was in school, if I would do it. Back when I was in school, New England especially, there wasn't too much barbecue going on up this way. And, thankfully
You
it's
probably have
changed
shorter
over the
seasons up there.
Oh, we don't have us diehards. There is no seasons. It goes all year long. Jerry, if you ever want to come and cook a brisket in a blizzard, the door's open, brother. We got the fire pit going out there. We got the fireplaces going in here. Plenty of hot coffee and everything else going on. But yeah, we go through it all. But I'd like to think I would have at least gave it a shot, because it's so interesting, and to learn what I've learned over the past, I don't know, 10 years or so, it's like, man, and then to see the kids opportunity that the kids have, especially first starting in Texas and moving its way around the country, to have a barbecue team. I know at my kids' high school down the street, they have a bass fishing team. It's these things. It's like, are you kidding me? We used to skip school to go fishing, and now you're having a thing I can do and get glory from it.
Yeah.
But it's all wild. And I know I've seen Chef do, and he does it a few times. He'll do live segments on whether Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram with his students. So hit that button there, Chef, so we can hear your lovely golden pipes.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm just trying. I always enjoy listening to Jerry when he gets to going, because he really is a wealth of knowledge. And I know you're probably going to allude to the class he teaches there at the Beef Council too in a little bit. But when I was serving, as the ultimate beef loving Texan, I saw he was teaching a class. So I got a hold of the lady I dealt with up there, and I was like, "Hey, what's the chances of me being able to go to this class?" And she goes, "Well, we didn't think you'd want to go. I said, heck yeah, I want to go, because if you've ever tuned in to any of the Beef Council, and I'm sure even though you're not in Texas, you see it, because Jerry's one of their big ones on their Instagram and on their YouTube. He's the face you see, and now they're on TikTok also. And so you're going in there, and it's Pitmaster Jerry McPherson, and he's showing you how to do maybe a ribeye. The other day, he was slapping a big tomahawk up on the counter. And so he's got some great knowledge out there about dealing with beef, cooking beef. And the class that I think you've done 2 of them now, I think is right, were great. I'm not sure the first time I met Jerry, but it was quite a few years ago, because I went to Jess Pryle's beef course at the Beef Council. And Jess is an ambassador up there also. And she is, of course, a wealth of knowledge and great to deal with. But it's exciting, to deal with it and be able to help promote. You're talking, like you said, over 100,000 producers. Most of them are less than 50 cows, on their property. So we think about those big ones, like the 4.6s, that people hear about, because you hear about those. But I cook a whole lot of beef. In fact, I got a playlist that's just beef off of Texas ranches, and that beef gets a lot of views. But it's tremendous, and Jerry does do a very, very good job of presenting that to the community out there at large, whether it's in Texas or out of Texas.
Nice. Yeah. And Chef, like you said, your videos you do with the kids. You have the drums, a couple drums set out back, and you're teaching the kids the ropes on the competition barbecue end of it. But from what you were saying of the, with the Beef Council working with the schools at many levels, many grade levels, age groups, these kids have been really learning about it since since they started school in one way, shape, or form, and it had all led to your students in the culinary departments, and you're working with them. Are there kids who aren't in your culinary program that participate with what you're doing with the competition side?
On the competition side, the ones I deal with are all culinary students. But when I was out at Lytle, the kids out there, we opened up like the barbecue team. We opened up the barbecue team to everyone. So if you were in the school and you were interested in barbecue, come on, you can get on the barbecue team. And the tough deal is that it was a real small school out there, but finding the kids that were serious about sitting there and watching a fire, because what a lot of them will want to do is they'll want to get to playing around and doing this and doing that, and I tell them, hey guys, you got to be actively monitoring, because they would get where they got to playing and they'd forget to watch the fires, right? And so I might be in teaching classes and I got 10 kids outside the door doing that I'm going back and forth and checking on. But it's sometimes it's hard for them to realize, hey, it's because they've seen daddy sitting out there, having an adult beverage, BSing all day with his buddies. And you're like, hey, guys, you got to actively monitor this stuff. And I would say that was kind of the hardest thing for me, was trying to find, 4 kids that was serious enough that they would sit there and watch that fire all day long. Because when you're 14, 15, 16, 17, you got a whole lot of stuff going through your mind besides, hey, is that pit still running at 250 or 275, whatever you're doing? And that was one of the big challenges. But out there, we did it with everybody. And here, in fact, my kids just did a contest Friday. So we took 2 groups of kids to St. Philip's College, their culinary department had, we did an appetizer and we did a dessert. And my dessert team actually won first place. They did chocolate Napoleons with the white chocolate and chocolate mousse in them. And my appetizer kids did a recipe that I did for the Beef Council that was a grilled picanha with green chili cheese grits and little mini tacos. And those kids didn't place, but they did a great job presenting beef to all the judges and everyone else there. Not Friday, Thursday. We had that contest Thursday at St. Philip's. And so that was a young man and a lady on that team. But they had learned how to cook picanha or culotte or sirloin cap, whatever we want to call it, right? But we know the Brazilians call it picanha. But anyways, we get kids out there and they're learning about it and they're doing it. And even if they don't go into it for a profession, they're leaving high school with a good knowledge of beef, where it comes from, what's in it. I tell you what, I did some stuff for the Morehouse Ranch. It's called the peoplesbeef.com. And Uncle Steve Shake, I put straight as his All-American SPG on it. And I still say that's the best steak I've ever cooked in my life, was using that SPG. But that steak from the Morehouse Ranch was born, raised on the Morehouse Ranch. And that's where it spent its entire life until it got butchered and put into a package. So it's pretty cool to know that, right, where that cow came from, what it ate, or in this case, steers, right, what they ate, what was going on. And the ultimate healthy animal, right? Because we know where it's been and what it went through coming off the Morehouse's ranch. So that's kind of a neat thing to know also.
Yeah. Jerry, please forgive me for my little outburst there, but I don't know if you can see the chat, but we're a very close, they're very, very close-knit group, and the ball busting has officially kicked off. And,
Gotcha.
it's, Kent, I learned that New England got barbecue with the Mayflower.
Gotcha.
Okay, there's a shot at me, but then shot at that chef that Thank God it was our friend Steven from Trinidad and Tobago. We're international here. But funny thing, Chef Johnny's most viewed video is how to fry a sunny side up egg. Go figure.
Yeah, that is true.
Hey,
that is true.
As long as they're watching, right, Chef?
I guarantee it. That's the that's the main thing we want. But yeah, I've got over 1 million views on how to fry an egg. Yeah. Go. I always kind of laugh about that. Some of the videos that get a lot of views on them, I'm like, I've got some really good videos out there. The 12 videos that the Beef Council put out, and they're on my channel and on there. And there's this Beef Loving Texans. So don't go looking for the Beef Council on YouTube. Look for Beef Loving Texans. But those are 12 good. Those are good recipes that we put out there with a lot of different things. And hey, it's good. It's good stuff. I mean, the Beef Council is their YouTube. They're not near big enough. Everybody on here and everybody on the podcast needs to go find beeflovingtexans.com. And the recipes that they have, there is a in-depth, a large book of recipes on things you can do with beef, and it's getting added to it just weekly, if not daily.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I appreciate the shout out there, Chef Johnny. There's lots of recipes on there. And it is beeflovingtexans.com. That is kind of our brand, Beef Loving Texans. So you can find us on, Instagram, TikToks, all the YouTube videos and all that. Just go to beeflovingtexans.com and you'll find all that information. As well as you were just talking about the picanha and the sirloin cap, or, I just did a video on the YouTube and have that out there on all that. So that's a good video to watch in terms of the picanha just recently. But lots of good information out there, lots of great videos, lots of good recipes. So yeah, go to beeflovingtexans.com, check us out.
Yeah. Now, Jerry, as far as like the students go, does the Beef Council have or grant or work with organizations that do scholarships for the kids, whether it be culinary, agriculture?
We cannot, we of the Beef Council cannot give out scholarships.
Okay.
That is not in our area that we can do. We can do in-kind sponsorship stuff, different things like that, but we can't do scholarship money and all that. So, example, we do an in-kind donation to the High School Barbecue Incorporated for the high school competitions and all that. But the High School Barbecue, they give out scholarships at their regionals and at state.
Okay.
So at state, they'll have some additional money for first, second, and third places. Each individual can earn so much money. Also, we work with Escoffier as one of the sponsors on the high school barbecue side that gives out scholarships per regional event too as well. So that's how in terms of that, but not through the Texas Beef Council here. We don't do that.
Okay.
Just not allowed to with the funding.
Yeah.
And all that. So
absolutely.
But we also, we have, I didn't mention it earlier, but we also have what we call the beef running team that's out there into the communities throughout the state of Texas. So we have roughly, I'm going to say the number's right around 1,000 now, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. I think it was up to 1,200 at one point. But these are members that are on the beef running team, and they're out in all the different communities throughout the state of Texas, from the Panhandle down to the border to east and west and all that. And they compete in like 3K, 5Ks, half marathons, full marathons, triathlons, all different kinds of events out there. And they have to qualify to be on the beef team. They have to do certain things to become educated, part of that, but also do some service time and become a beef team member. And they have beef team shirts. They're running in these events with their beef term shirts, and they're out there doing beef promotion people are seeing beef runners out there, and they're showcasing, beef can be part of a healthy diet. We have a wide range of folks that participate in there and do that. And that's been going on for about 15 years now, really, with that community. But they also set up booths and all that at schools, elementaries, high school, things of that nature, with recipes and things of that nature. So we're highly involved with the community through our beef team members as well. They do it because they have a passion for the cattle producers, a passion for beef in general. So they've been part of us for a long period of time. And every so often, every year, there's so many that may fall off because of, just different things that happen. And then we add a few more on and things of that nature. So it's been a great program that we've had over the past 15 years or so. And like I said, they're out in the community helping out and doing things. And they may do some certain runs on their own that raise money for different organizations, different things that they can do as well. So we're out there showcasing for the cattle producers.
I think their Instagram is TX Beef Team, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that their?
It probably is on Texas Beef Team. Yeah.
There's a lady that lives here in Lydell. I didn't know it. I was at HEB here a while back, and she stopped me. She goes, "Hey, you're Chef Johnny," and I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "I'm on the Texas Beef Team," so she knew who I was and knew about all the contests and everything. But she knew a little history. Her and her husband run with the Texas Beef Team.
And you both realize that every time you mention HEB, I shrink a little bit in my heart here because I am still putting together the petition to get an HEB up in New England because it is my favorite store of all times. When I come down to Texas, I got to go.
And
first stop is drop the bags off. Second one is to go to HEB's. And the third is to find the closest Buc-ee's. So I'm working a petition to get HEB, Buc-ee's, and Academy up here in New England. And then
my dad retired from HEB. So I knew Mr. and Miss Butt, the original Mr. and Miss Butt. I knew each one of those as a boy growing up. Charlie Butt, who's now, I don't know if Charlie, I think, has stepped down now, but he was the son that really ran everything. I knew him. Howard Jr. that ran kind of the Laity Lodge. He was a pastor, did all that. I knew Howard Jr. and of course Howard III's real active in it now. But and I didn't realize Jerry had been with HEB. But yeah, my early years, my dad was in the construction end. So when I got out of college, well, HEB put me through college. I worked every summer, every spring. I never went to spring break. Daddy had a HEB for me to be building. For that week during spring break and our Christmas break, I was building HEBs. So that's something I've been with my entire life is HEB. So long ties with them.
Nice. So, like I said,
we're blessed here in Texas. We've got a lot of great companies like that out here.
Oh, absolutely. I look forward to it. I have to, let's just put it this way. With the airline rules, I have to ship packages back home because you can't have more than 3 ounces of any type of liquid of some way, shape, or form. But learning of the Beef Council was my first time. Was last year when you had that competition, the Ultimate Beef Loving Texan.
Yeah.
And how did that come about as the competition? Obviously, the episode that it turned into a 3-episode final of 2 of the competitors. But how did that come about? And I'm assuming Chef got on there because he was probably the only one in the senior citizen category that applied.
It was that in-kind deal that we do, No, he got voted on. So if I remember correctly, that was not my specific department who runs that.
Okay.
That would probably be either Rachel Chow or Adriana Moore. But that was handling that particular program, and it was online. It was voting for recipes, and it was between, I think, home cooks and chefs were competing against each other and showing up different recipes and things of that nature. And they got voted upon. And then the two finalists that came about, who people voted on because of the recipes and I want to say not only the recipes, but probably their personalities came through as well and all. So they got voted on, and I think that's how we got down to the final two. I wasn't not involved heavily in that. I got more heavily involved when they came and did the competition here at the office and did the finals and all that. And I actually was over there running and getting Johnny some stuff whenever he needed something behind the scenes there when he needed something. So he had the A team behind him. I think that might have helped him a little bit. I don't know.
I did. He took care of my fire. The pit going. Hey, when it was time for me to put meat on the pit, Jerry had me a fire out there. It was all set up, ready to go. And I think I'm not positive on how they found everyone, but I always tagged beef-loving Texans. So beef-loving Texans, beef-loving chefs, and of course, the old beef, it's what's for dinner, right? Those were some of my regular tags all the time. And so I'm sure that's kind of how they found me. And there was quite a few of us, I guess they approached and said, hey, will y'all do a 60-second video? And we had to submit recipes to them. So we submitted 3 recipes to them, and they picked one of the 3 and said, okay, cook this one for us. So we kind of went through this question, answer time, introduction, then we did the 3 recipes. And then there was, 8 or 10 of us that submitted recipes. And I did a jalapeno popper with filet mignon up on top of it. So it was a pretty good jalapeno popper, and a 60-second video, put it all together, voiced over, sent that in, and that's what I got the votes in to make the final, along with Danielle Dubois out of Houston. Yeah. She's a Louisiana girl, but now lives in Houston. And you had to live in Texas was one of the deals. So, so it was people all the way from El Paso to Houston, and I guess down in the valley up to Muleshoe. I guess it was a pretty big area, and through that we made the finals, and the rest of that's when you kind of got involved, Johnny, and saw some of that and saw where they had posted those up and the different events we did. But yeah, Jerry was running everything behind the scenes for us, making sure we had all of our ingredients. Man, I tell you what, he had a couple of ribeyes for me that were beautiful that I cooked up for my ribeye tacos, and they were lovely. And I told him, hey, let's start the fire about this time. And I saw them big old thick ribeyes, and I went, you better start that fire a little earlier and put a little extra charcoal. Them things are huge. So did that. And Jess was the one that came out eyeballing the pit, and Jess was checking me out to make sure I was doing stuff right. But it was a great day. It was a lot of fun, and Jerry was a big part of us being able to get done because we had an hour to cook. We could plate after that hour, but you had an hour to cook it. And the tough deal was the Wellingtons. So on the Wellingtons, it was like an hour without, hey guys, don't get in my way. You might get run over because it's going to take an hour to cook these Wellingtons. And that was tough. But Jerry had everything ready for me, lined up, and for Danielle also. So his crew did a great job preparing for us and having everything we needed there to cook our meals.
Yeah, and Jess was checking out everything you got going, because I had dropped her a little line and said, you got to keep an eye on this Chef Johnny guy. He puts beans in his chili. She said, no.
You know you're lying there.
So, obviously, Chef, you won it, and, you present the Bucko proud. Jerry, we were out at the Houston Livestock and Rodeo the year after he won it, and he had snuck in after me And so I didn't know he was there. He grabbed me by the shoulders, spun me around, and went, "Hey, Yankee, I shined it up nice so you can read it." And he's there flaunting the buckle, and I'm like, "Oh, I love you,
You can
Chef."
use that buckle as a plate. They did give out a pretty big buckle.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But
It
on
was well
that
deserved.
note, with the ultimate beef loving Texan and everything, Jerry, has there been any talk of collaborating with Chef on some of these classes y'all do?
Well, so he actually came to the first one we did, and all that. I think you had a year contract with us, didn't you? After you won that competition,
1 year,
yeah, develop recipes and all that. So it was a good. I think it was a great prize to win. Really, great opportunity and all that. But the school was kind of just started out after that program, or I guess we were talking and developing it either right before that, or I can't remember the dates and all that. But because technically last year, well, we've done, Johnny. Now we've done. Has it been 4? It's either 4 or 5 classes I've done now since the first one.
Yeah.
So we've done a total of 4 or 5 now. And it's similar to what we did with the first one, but we've changed it, tweaked it a little bit. We don't do a dinner at the end of it now that we did before. We kind of constrained it down to 4 hours opposed to 5 hours. Limit the time a little bit, which we needed to, I think. But it's kind of been, we get a wide range of folks that come into it, from experts that do it for a living, and then some that have never smoked or done it before. So it's kind of an interesting class when you're talking to a wide range of folks and trying to keep everybody, number one, entertained and learning stuff. But it's a great that you can talk to folks and kind of, share your experiences. There might be a pit that you might be using at home that we don't have here, showcasing and talk about that. Or we may have that particular pit that you had at home, and you can talk about that when you're here and share that with other folks that are here that are maybe interested in getting one, or what they're looking for, or things of that nature. So it's a neat program that we've started. There's lots of good food. I think it's good food that you get an opportunity to taste, and you learn. Some are going to take a little bit more away from it than others, but it's a good time, and for the cost of it, I don't think you're going to have a better 4 hours experience with the cost of it and walk away full and go. It's just a good.
It's a wealth of. I know, and I guess y'all have some pit boss.
Yeah, pit boss.
Andrew do it. Andrew and Alton, they both got to go to it here a while back. They were both there, and went through that one. But no, we haven't talked in a collab. We may have to call Rachel and say, hey, let's do some kind of collaboration here or something sometime, and do that. And Jess hasn't done her class there in a long time either. Because I want to say her class since COVID, maybe.
I think she's done one since then. Maybe I think one. I may be completely wrong on that. But she's a busy woman right now. She got a lot going on. Between all her travels, going
she doesn't stop.
Her new products that she's got, the new butter thing that she just laid out there yesterday or the day before. So.
I think Friday or Saturday, and then she's got the new book coming out next year. So she's been working on that, and then she's got into her own TV show on one of I can't remember the channel provider, but Jess has it in. But here, Jerry, this backs up my story here from Daddy Dutch. Jerry, Chef made us kiss the buckle before he would even talk to us. These guys are the best. The love that's in this chat is dysfunctional at best, but it's there 1,000%. 1,000%.
Well, we welcome you to come like beeflovingtexans.com, by the way.
No, absolutely. And Brother Steven has been dropping all the links to all the social media platforms and the
Awesome.
YouTube and videos and the website itself. But man, Jerry, thank you so much. This has been truly enlightening, learning everything about the Beef Council and everything you guys do, from for the cattle itself to the ranches to the future in kindergarten.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it reached that far. And you're doing wonderful things, and I hope that someday I might be able to take part in a program here myself. And please remember, if there's anything I can do, if y'all have anything coming up, please just get in touch with me. You got the emails, or you got his number, probably. You can get direct to me, and we'll get you on to talk about everything. But Jerry, brother, thank you so much for taking the time and enlightening us on everything Texas Beef Council. I appreciate it.
Well, once again, thank you for having me. Chef Johnny, thank you for getting the word out there for us and getting Johnny here to talk to me and visit with me. And I appreciate you having me on, Johnny. And, just remember to beeflovingtexas.com, and remember to hug a cattle producer out there.
Absolutely. And Jerry, I'm just going to say this real quick, because you had hit upon it earlier. I got into barbecue. I watched seeing the TV programs and everything, but I got a lot of my culinary stuff from my mother, and an amazing cook. She would cook everything. I've never seen my father look at a grill, never mind turn one on. My mother did the grilling, and Jerry, I am a shoe leather eating lover like you. I didn't realize a steak could be pink till I went to a function somewhere and goes, is this cooked? He goes, that's cooked perfect. I go, it's not gray. And you didn't need ketchup to get it down either. But
well, I joked about my father, because he didn't do much cooking. He was, I'll be honest, he was from Boston. My dad was a Yankee from the Boston area. Oh yeah, so we're Boston Red Sox fans.
Good man.
And all that. So he had a lot of good to him, but barbecuing and grilling was not his thing. And I always tell people, I learned all my cooking from my mom for sure, but my dad, when we'd be out at the grill, I always thought that lighter fluid was a seasoning. So that's what I grew up with my dad grilling.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well,
other than that,
Jerry,
a great man.
Perfect. But Jerry, again, thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it. Chef, thank you as always for your insight on what I do not know and what I didn't know on the council that I knew. You could fill in any blanks that I might miss. So thank you, brother. I appreciate you too. Well, guys, that's it. Another week down. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Catch the video on YouTube and Facebook. And like I started saying last week, if y'all can go over to the Pit Life Barbecue podcast YouTube page and subscribe there, and all the shows are under the live folder or drop down. Apparently, because Facebook is starting to delete all lives after 30 days. Luckily, YouTube isn't doing that, but if you go over there, subscribe there, you'll have all the episodes there for whenever you want them, or to go back and revisit a certain guest or topic that we were covering. I'd appreciate that. Catch the audio wherever audio platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, all those. Wherever you can get audio forms, we're there. Any questions and comments, please send them to pitlifebbqpodcast@gmail.com. Like always, subscribe, like, rate, and review. Hit that share button. And next week, making his triumphant return, the one and only Meathead will be joining me to talk about the new Meathead Method book, a long-awaited book, and we'll get all the insights. And it is, I believe it's coming out May 13th. You can still pre-order your copies now, and I was blessed to be able to get a pre-copy, and let me just say, this is nothing short of tremendous. He hit it out of the park again. So yeah, Meathead will be joining me next week. And like always, guys, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys help keep this going every week. And until next week, keep the smoke rolling.